All right, so who hasn't been there, right?
Yeah.
You're on the couch, got your cheese and crackers, maybe it's movie night,
Uh,
and your dog is giving you those puppy dog eyes like, can I have
the
some,
big eyes.
the big eyes?
Yeah.
So can they have some, should you be giving them cheese? That's what we're looking at today in this deep dive into whether or not dogs can eat cheese.
I love it.
So we've got some great information from the American Kennel Club and Pet MD,
Yeah.
and I'm so excited to dive into this with you because honestly, I've always been a little bit confused about it.
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
First of all, the good news, cheese can be a healthy treat.
Right? Yeah, it can. I think a lot of people associate cheese with being kind of a bad thing for dogs, but actually, there are quite a few nutritional benefits to cheese.
Right, and I was going to say, what are those benefits?
Yeah, so, cheese is a good source of protein. It's got calcium, which is great for bones and teeth, and then some essential vitamins like A and B and fatty acids as well.
That's amazing. So really, it's not just an empty calorie.
Not at all.
It's actually got good stuff in it.
Absolutely. And it's actually useful for training and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of cheese goes a long way with my dog.
Oh, absolutely.
So trainers use it as a high-value reward.
Yeah.
And also, like we talked about, those puppy dog eyes, sometimes you need to hide medicine or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And a little bit of cheese can do wonders.
Absolutely. It works for the kids, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
For everybody. A little bit of cheese.
But so we said it could be healthy. So that's the good news.
Right.
What's the bad news? Is there any bad news?
Yeah, well, there is lactose intolerance in dogs
Right.
is a thing. It's very real.
Okay, so just like humans, dogs can have trouble digesting the lactose in cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that can lead to some stomach upset,
Wow.
gas, bloating, diarrhea, or even vomiting in some cases.
Oh, no. So is there any way to tell if your dog's lactose intolerant?
It's hard to tell, Some dogs can tolerate a little bit of cheese and some can't.
Yeah.
It really just depends. So you kind of have to just start small and see how they do.
So if you do notice that your dog is having some tummy troubles after having some cheese, what do you do?
Well, you want to avoid cheese.
Yeah.
You want to avoid cheese altogether and, talk to your vet about other options for treats.
Okay, good to know. Now, let's say your dog's not lactose intolerant. What about the fat content?
Yeah, this is another thing to consider. Cheese can be high in fat, especially the harder aged cheeses.
Right.
So while a little bit of fat is fine, too much can lead to weight gain or even obesity.
Right, that makes sense.
And even more serious conditions like pancreatitis.
Oh, gosh, I've heard that's not good.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about pancreatitis?
Yeah, so pancreatitis is basically an inflammation of the pancreas, and the pancreas, plays a really vital role in digestion. And that inflammation can be triggered by a bunch of different things, but including, a sudden influx of really fatty foods.
Okay, so that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
Especially, if you're giving your dog cheese on a regular basis.
For sure. So,
Yeah.
just be mindful of the type of cheese you're giving and how much you're giving.
Okay, so we've talked about the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
What about some good cheese picks for pups?
Yeah, so low-fat cheese is definitely the way to go.
Okay.
So mozzarella is a good one. It's relatively low in fat and sodium.
I love mozzarella.
And then cottage cheese is another really good one, especially good for senior dogs.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, it's low in fat, high in protein, so it's really easy on their system.
Awesome. And then any other options?
Yeah, soft goat cheese is another one that can be easier to digest for some dogs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, so low-fat cheese, definitely the way to go.
Exactly.
Now, I think this is really important before we move on. We've talked about all the things that are in cheese that could be good or bad. But what about the things that could be added to cheese?
Right, yeah, some of those additives.
Are there things that we should be looking out for?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flavored cheeses out there, and they might contain ingredients that are actually toxic to dogs.
Okay, what kind of things are we talking about?
So things like garlic onions, chives.
Oh, really?
Yeah, these are really common in flavored cheeses. And, even small amounts can be really harmful to dogs.
Wow, I did not know that about cheese.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and chives, I just think of putting those on baked potatoes. I wouldn't think that they would be in cheese.
Yeah.
So what happens if a dog eats chives or garlic or onions? What happens to them?
It can actually damage their red blood cells.
Oh, no.
And that can lead to something called hemolytic anemia.
Okay, so when you're at the grocery store and you're looking at all the cheese, what do you recommend people do?
Read the label.
Uh,
Look at the ingredients.
okay.
Be very careful about anything that says like flavoring or spices, because those could contain those ingredients that we talked about.
Got it. So really just plain cheese.
Plain unflavored
That's
cheese
the way to go.
is the best way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. I feel like people are now cheese experts when it comes to their dogs.
I hope so.
So to sum it all up, cheese can be good,
It can be.
but you got to be careful about how much you give, what kind you give.
For sure. Absolutely. Moderation and careful selection are key.
Now, I'm curious for you personally, what are some ways that you incorporate cheese into maybe like your dog's training or their treats?
Oh, well, I love to put a little bit of mozzarella in a con toy. That's always a winner.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Keeps them entertained for hours.
Yeah. What about in the summertime? Do you do anything fun?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I freeze a little bit of cottage cheese mixed in with their kibble.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's a nice little refreshing treat.
So this has been so fun, and I think everyone listening is probably like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go make my dog the best cheese treat ever.
I know.
But just remember, moderation is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as always, if you have any concerns about your dog's diet or specific foods, definitely talk to your vet.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this cheesy deep dive.
This has been fun.
I've learned so much. I hope everyone else has too.
Me too.
And for everyone listening, now that you're a cheese expert when it comes to dogs, I want to know what fun cheese treats are you going to make?
Yeah, tell us.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See ya.